Hello, this is Ben Johnson, one of the students here in this class, and it's a cool opportunity for me to be able to just do this video, this reflection video, looking back over the past 8 weeks as we wrap it up tonight, and some of the key lessons that I have uh, taken away and will continue to take away really has to do with one is the big idea of what Wiseman was talking about as far as being a multiplier versus being a diminisher. That was a really good thing for me to understand as far as understanding what a diminisher looks like so that I can identify some of those negative characteristics that even I can say I have seen in myself, whether in the present or the our past seasons, things that maybe prevent people from being able to bring their creativity to the table, things that instead of drawing people together, using that collective creativity, the collective intellect to come up with the best decisions, the best ideas. It's almost like squashing them out of fear that they would almost rise up and usurp authority or take away the vision that a leader would have. And so being a multiplier is really what I think is something that is largely natural for me. It's something that I've been growing in a lot as a leader in the past couple of years, but this book has really helped solidify some of these ideas. Being good at being a debater and a discussion, in creating discussions that are worthwhile, empowering people well, enabling people to have the freedom to make mistakes. So all these ideas are key to being a multiplier. So that's a big thing. And this was something when I had to write the paper, trying to on someone that I knew that was a multiplier. That was a cool opportunity for me, being able to interview Dan Pearson. He's someone that I've known for a long time. Someone that we used to live in the same community. My sister was a part of his Fellowship of Christian Athletes group. But now I've been able to work underneath him, and I've rarely met anyone that's been more empowering or someone that's been more intentional to hand off authority and hand off a ministry. And he's just raising people up all over the place, all over the region. And I don't know if all FCA regional directors are like him, but if they are, FCA is going to take this country by storm. So he was a perfect example of what a multiplier is, and so it was cool being able to interview him for that. Another thing was I really liked the videos early on in the course that we watched, and they were the videos that are kind of supplemental in a way to one of our books that Garda and Allison wrote. And so it was cool. Those videos really stuck with me as Dave Garda really articulated his thoughts on empowering people in the congregation and being a full-time staff member in a church. And I've been a full-time staff for over 7 years. It's something that it's good for me to be reminded that truly the church should be comprised of people that are willing to work and are capable of working and serving and ministering, and that the whole 80-20 rule, it should be 80%, 80% of the people, should be doing the majority of the work. The bulk of the people in our congregation should be doing the bulk of the work, versus what reality tends to be, where we have 20% of the people doing 80% of the work, and it really should be almost proportional, where we're seeing the vast majority of the people in our congregation are being empowered and equipped, and it should be a natural expectation. It shouldn't be weird that ministries are being led and facilitated and initiated by volunteers. So that video really struck me, and I like as being a youth pastor presently, I like the model that he has, and almost being like an apostle of sorts when it comes to being a youth minister, where he's going for just a short assignment of, I think it was 2 years. He raises up a team inside of that church, and then he releases them to do the work, which for me, another thing that we had to do was do that research paper. which was an opportunity for me to do a little bit of research into what I'm going to be transitioning into as a full-time foreign missions, which is something I am passionate about. But so the mixture of seeing what Garda was talking about, Dave Garda was talking about, as far as empowering and equipping volunteers to do the work, and what I'm going to be transitioning into is good for me to have those nuggets and the pieces that we've been learning about, as I've been trying to raise up teams and raise up leaders, that can not only just fill a void, but to really excel and to accelerate and to do well, to push the ministry further, and not just like, maintain the status quo, but to surpass what has been, to build upon the foundation that we've been laying for the past 7 years. And so seeing how he's been doing it, and he's able to do it in 2 years, so by golly, I hope I have a good enough team at the end of 7 years, and this year being really intentional of coaching and discipling some of the leaders to step up, to give them opportunities to talk, to preach, to lead, to plan, to facilitate far more than they have in the past 7 years, which is partially my fault. I wish I had done that a lot more in the past. But going to, I mentioned the research paper. That was another highlight. I really enjoyed that opportunity to do some academic research into the problems of what I'm going to be pursuing with my family in Honduras the end of July, where we will be moving down there and working with a missionary. But to actually do a little bit of research of what are the problems there, and so that, when I get boots on the ground, I will have some awareness of what I'll be facing, and some of the problems that I found in these articles and these books that I did for this research paper. Some things I was already aware of, but it was good to be reminded of. It was also to be good to maybe be confronted with some different realities that I hadn't thought of, different perspectives. And so that was beneficial for me to see that, how to deal with the cross-cultural conflicts, cross-cultural things that will be lost in translation. And that's something that we're going to be having to work really hard in our communication, and we largely are going to be going down there wanting to be multipliers, and sometimes when it comes to mission, sometimes outsiders become diminishers. We try to initiate and put our Americanized ideas on them, instead of trying to draw out these Holy Spirit inspired ideas that they have. And so we're not going down there trying to run the show. We're going down there largely trying to be a catalyst for something there, but wanting to find other people that can really be brought up, raised up as leaders, so that we're not creating something that's going to be something really long term, as far as we're not trying to create job security. We're wanting to raise up people that will be almost in some ways pushing us out of our jobs as far as ministry needs. And so being a multiplier down there, not a diminisher, that was something that was good. I liked even some of the discussions that we were having, and prompts that we were given as far as, how do I find talented people, and, the people that I can raise up and how I can recruit. This is something that's good for me right now, still being in youth ministry for the next 7-8 months or so. But also will be good as I'm going down and going to be, serving with indigenous people. And so how can I cast the vision to them, empower them to get excited about something when they're working hard just to survive. And so how can I help them understand that there's a picture bigger than being in survival mode all the time, and that God desires us to not just be focused on meeting the bare necessities, but trying to break out of that cycle so that we can be more available and better prepared to serve. So that's partly what we're going to be doing. We're going to be trying to help people meet some of their physical needs, um, and help them understand that they don't have to have a poverty mindset. And so when we're going down there, we're going to be looking for people that have those traits, those skill sets, and that potential to be discipled and to be raised up, to be launched into a ministry, to be launched into being a community leader, pastors and disciplers. So that we want to be planting churches down there in Honduras where there's no churches. We want to be raising up pastors where the pastors are needed. We're wanting to raise up women who want to be more than just the cultural expectation status quo of being the woman who's making the food, washing the clothes, and being a baby maker. And not that those are not honorable things for them to do, but knowing that God has given them a voice, and that God has given them callings to make an impact, and that they hold value beyond what they are able to contribute to the household, and that they bring value to the kingdom, beyond just being submissive to their husbands. Not that that's not valuable, but that there's a greater potential that they hold, and wanting to disciple them and call that out in them. And that can be something simple as doing team building activities. The last time we went down there, my family and I, we went down just by ourselves to spend some time with a missionary, and we did team building activities with a bunch of teenagers and young adults, and something as simple as the human knot or the trust fall was something that was so foreign to them. Yet, how many times have I done a human knot in youth group? How many times have I done a trust fall in some setting? And so it's almost like old hat to me. It's old news, but there it's something's fresh and it's exciting, and there's so much that can be drawn out and taught to them. And in those tools, using those lessons, using those instruments is one of the ways that I can be using to identify leaders and to call them out and to empower them. So those are some of my thoughts. Thanks for the opportunity. Thanks for instructing me in this class, and so I'm definitely thankful for Christmas break as well. But I hope you have a Merry Christmas. And thank you. God bless. Bye.